Hi y'all, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and we are in the garden. So I did a cocktails and garden video a little bit ago, probably like 3 weeks ago. And in it, I was a little chilly, but I was like, I think we're done with the snow. I think we're done with the cold. And that was false. I think this is a spring that is affecting the entire country. It is April like 13th or something like that. And I just talked to a buddy of mine in North Dakota and they're getting like this historic blizzard. Yesterday it snowed in Washington. I saw the Pacific Northwest was getting a big snowstorm. Alabama right now is getting massive, well, not massive tornadoes, but like severe storms. I feel like this has been one heck of a spring and Mother Nature doesn't know what she's doing. But I'm finally outside in the garden and it is onion planting time. I've gotten these onions. They look a little worse for the wear. I got these onions probably about 3 weeks ago. I think I got them 3 weeks ago. And they're supposed to go in the ground almost immediately, and they could have gone in the ground in normal years. But this year it's just been so cold and freezing, and we had a frost warning 2 nights ago, and I'm saying I'm done with it. We're putting them in the ground today. So before I get these in the ground, I just want to go over them really briefly, what we have and the different types of onions we're doing. So I did onions for the first time last year, was not successful. They rotted in the ground instantly. So I've done more research, done more homework, and we're gonna try again, and hopefully this year is the year of success. I have heard onions can be a little tricky, so we're gonna try it and see what happens. I don't intend for this like YouTube to be in every single way like an instructional video. Oops. But I do kind of like the idea of it being like a motivational thing. Like, see, people fail, but you still try and try again, right? And maybe you'll learn something new. That's my goal. So these are called, the ones I keep throwing on the floor, I don't know where that one went. These are called onion starts in this little bowl. So I've been watering them because it's been 3 weeks. So these are onion starts. And you can see here we have a little bit of root, and then we have a little bit of greenery. Everything I've read, everyone that I know does onion starts. You can start onions by seeds, but it is a little bit more difficult. You can also do what's called onion sets. And like this is an onion set. So we have like an actual little onion and some greenery. So this little onion has sprouted. So everything I've read has said to start onions from starts. So one produces, I believe it's the onion set is supposed to produce the smaller onion, whereas the onion start is supposed to produce the bigger onion. This is supposed to be a 2nd-year onion. This is supposed to be a 1st-year onion. Doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe I have it backwards. I don't think I do, but maybe I have it. If this is a 1st-year onion and this is a 2nd-year onion, doesn't make sense to me. But anyhow, we're gonna do both. Now, with the onion, I do definitely want the onion. Like, don't get me wrong. I definitely want the onion. Let me get the onion. I definitely want the onion itself, but I also really like the greenery. The greenery for the garlic and onions has so much flavor that I love to dry it and powder it and use it as a spice. I love to add it in broths and soups and casseroles. I love to add it to things. I think it's delicious. So for me, I love getting both products, and if I get one or the other, I still count it as a success. So we're gonna get the back bed, then I'm gonna put the onion starts in. We're gonna get that bed ready to go, and then we're gonna get these onions planted. So I am solidly one of those people that does not wear garden gloves. I don't like to wear gloves. I like to feel the dirt on my hands. And so I think it's funny. I see like videos or TikToks or Facebook posts of people are like, I can't get my hands dirty. And I'm like, I love when my hands are dirty because it means I did what I was passionate about. But I just think it's funny. There are definitely different types of people in this world. So I think I freak some people out when I'm just like in here in my garden with no gloves, just messing with the dirt. Called being a gardener, huh? Okay. So I've taken a lot of the leaves off, and as I go, I'll keep taking some more leaves off. Onions like to have a very loose soil. They don't like to fight for competition. So I also kind of like turned the soil over a little bit. And there was a big pile of sawdust that came from a chopped down tree that was on here. I just kind of worked that in as well. Ideally, I would love to be putting compost on this bed right now. Same with my cabbages, my broccoli that I have planted, but I haven't gone to the store yet to get any compost. So I think that is on my agenda for the weekend, to finally go get some compost. I did put fertilizer on all my beds, and we're gonna fertilize this bed after we plant our onions. But I love to have compost on my beds, so I'm not doing that right now, but that will get done. So let me show you how I'm planting these onions. So onions don't need to go deep. You want to put them at most 1 inch deep, but really all you want to do is put them in so they're standing on their own. The one problem with raised beds like this, it's how do you, I don't really want to lay on this too much. I don't want to flatten out that soil I just tossed, but this is not comfortable. So I'm just going to put him in a little bit and just kind of push the soil around him so he stands. I'm going to put them about 4 fingers away from each other. Onion starts planted. It almost went the whole way around this bed twice on the outside. It probably stopped right around here for the second time around, but that's a decent amount of onions. Oh look, here's 2 that I missed. Let's throw these in up here. So I'm hoping these grow. So I did 2 times around. Now in the middle, I'm gonna do these onion starts. So these have sprouted, so we're just gonna a lot of times just throw the bulb itself in the ground, and we're gonna see what happens with these. Again, even if I just get onion greens and not a good onion, I will be happy with that. So I forgot to mention, the starts were Walla Wallas. These are just yellow onions, so these don't really tell me what they are, but we're gonna go ahead and throw these in the ground. Oh, and I did want to mention, while I do this, I didn't want to be in this bed, but guess what? We're in the bed. I did want to mention while I did this that I used to be, before I was a gardener, I did not like bugs at all. I think these ones you put the whole bulb in the ground, from the little bit of research that I did. I'm more of a trial and error kind of person. So I'm going to put basically the whole thing in the ground. But I used to hate bugs. And when I became a gardener, I realized how beneficial bugs are to your garden. So while I was working, there were worms and there were bugs, and I was disturbed. I even had a spider, a big, gross, ugly spider crawl on me. And I didn't panic because all of that means that you have a healthy garden. You want to see the bugs in your garden. It means you have a healthy garden, and that's a good thing. And that means you have an organic, well, maybe not necessarily an organic garden, but you don't use a lot of chemicals on your garden, which I am a fan of. So I'm gonna get all of these guys planted, and then I'm gonna sprinkle this bed with a nitrogen source. I'm gonna use blood meal because that's what I have as my nitrogen, but you can use whatever you have. But you definitely want to add a good nitrogen, and you're going to fertilize these every 2 weeks until they start to grow bulbs. And then once they start to bulb up, then you can stop fertilizing them as regularly. but right in the very beginning, they're very, very fertilizer dependent. So some of these have sprouted, some of these have not. So I think this will be a fun experiment. The ones that have not sprouted though, it is kind of hard to know. I'm trying to go in rows. It's kind of hard to know where I planted it, where I planted everything. And if the paper falls off, that's okay. Not ideal, but it's okay. So I think I got around 200 onions in the ground between the starters. I know I did 100 onion sets, and I think I got 100 onion starters. So hopefully we get 200 onions. We will see. I did the starters on the outside and the onion sets in the middle, and then along the perimeter I did a nice dose of nitrogen, and then I did just sprinkle nitrogen over the entire middle. Because onions are heavy feeders and they like a lot of nitrogen. So tomorrow it's gonna rain, so I am gonna give these guys a little bit of a water in now to get them set, and then tomorrow after it rains we'll come down and check on them, and any that might have fallen over will kind of reset, because remember, they're not very deep. We only kind of press them into the ground. So we'll see how they hold up in the rain, and I'm excited. Hopefully this summer we have onions. Hopefully. So if you like these garden videos or the cooking videos, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. It is new, but I'm trying to get it up and going because I love gardening, I love talking about it, and I do have a lot of knowledge I can share, and we can do experiments like this together. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video.